What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we're taking a look at the YAN CK in a couple different color variations. I just finished taking some photos for the store and figured I would throw together a quick video to just show some of the colors, show some of the models, talk about them in a pretty casual setting, and more than anything, just have a good time here. So let's get started on that, guys. Reminder, check out the website BladeZilla.ca, where a lot of the knives featured on this channel, aka the ones right in front of you right now, I just put up. And lots of sheer gore-offs, lots of other stuff in Canada, ready to rock and roll. And that's BladeZilla.ca. So before we get started, remember, this is a casual conversation. We're not going to go into crazy levels of details on this stuff, and it's just like we're having a beer or having a coffee. So let's get started on this, on the YAN CK, or the Chevron, from Christensen Knife Works is the maker in terms of the model or the designer. So the Chevron, we'll just call it the Chevron, which, as you can see, I've got the black micarta, I think they call it the weave carbon, or not weave carbon, geez, the nebula carbon, is that right? I think it's nebula, anyway. I thought it was nebula carbon. Nebula fat carbon, is this guy. This is the fancy full dress, which, where are we here? They just called the inlay version with hole, and I think they made an inlay version with studs as well, but obviously fully dressed, pretty cool. The sleeper of the group, I think, is the full titanium, and they offer this as well in both the thumb stud as well as they call it the hole, and then the carbon. So that's what we're going to look at. We'll look at one at a time today and kind of start there, but super excited. We're going to put these guys away, and we'll start with the full dress and then work our way through the line. So let's get started here. I believe they all have, I think they all have the kind of belt satin blade. They're all magna cut, and they're all a front flipper. So, in today's kind of market where you're getting knives with single deployments, either flipper, etc., it's refreshing to say it's refreshing to have a knife that is a front flipper. A while ago I remember I did a video on the CKF Gnome, which was a front flipper, and everyone wanted multiple forms of deployment on that one. And here's basically like very similar, right? Like, to me, this is a gnome. It's about the same size, maybe a little smaller. I'd have to look spec to spec, but it feels like a gnome type size with the ability to have your reverse flick or your thumb to kind of open this guy up. And then obviously, the windows and whatnot, and the fancier materials and the backspacer on this guy is a premium price point, but very, very well done. And let's flip this guy over. So in hand, remember, I'm an extra large glove, and fits me beautifully. I have about a half finger on the back, which is just about right for a knife of this size, which I believe we'll measure a different one, but I think they're 7.5 inches and about 4 ounces, which is about right. They're milled out inside on all of them, and I'd have to look at how they did the micarta, because I think it's just a full slab of micarta, and then against a titanium frame, but we'll get there. Let's just get a light and shine it inside here, just to kind of see. I love that the underside of this just pops too. The finishing is quite nice. Yeah, nice big milled pockets. I believe these are made by Riot, to give you an idea on the level of quality. Could be wrong, but if someone knows, I think the YAN EMW that I did, the East meets West, I believe that one was made by Riot, so I'm assuming these are as well. Smooth action. Very typical of Riot. I'm not going to crank it out because, let's be honest, I've got a tripod about 6 inches to the south of this, and I'm not going to ever hit this. So that's the full dress with thumb hole, as they call it, but they do make it in a thumb stud version. Hopefully I'll have a bunch of these to bring in. And as you can see here, I love how the magna cut, it's just written on the blade here, just cut in so nicely and just pops. And the magna cut is written off track as well, which is cool. And then you get that CK logo of Christensen Knife Works, which is just a nice touch. The collars look great. We've got, looks like T8s kind of all the way around, including the clip. All external, pretty standard at this price point. Beautiful knife. Let's move along to, let's go black micarta. Once again with the thumb hole versus studs. And that micarta looks real nice, and in fact the camera is just picking up the true color of this one very nicely right now. Often, you know, depending on the light and when time of the day I film it, etc. Sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's light. This looks very much what it looks like as I'm looking on the screen. It's kind of a muted black micarta. It's kind of a little lighter than true black. Almost like gray. It's quite nice. And then as we talked about earlier, so it looks like that is a big scale that's slapped on there in terms of the micarta. So sometimes they'll do a titanium or steel kind of a liner, and then they'll slap the micarta on top, and nope, they did a full micarta scale on this guy, which is cool. And then they did not do any milling on the inside of that scale, but they did on the tie on the other side, which is cool. So I'm imagining just the feel, this one's probably a little bit lighter. Action, very nice. Dead center as well, which is nice. Nice solid clip. And I just dig how they all have kind of the 4-window cutout. You know, if you want to take it up one more notch, it would have been cool to have that, to see the blade there. That would have been cool. Probably difficult to do. But there's your black micarta. Let's grab one with a thumb stud here. Let's grab the full tie. They're calling it a full titanium. So to me, the absolute sleeper of the batch, and I think if I'm picking one that I would add to my collection, I would probably grab one of these. Unless you're micarta or a big carbon guy, you know, like I just love tie, and that's me, and this should be no surprise to anyone on the channel. I'm a titanium guy. I love plain Jane tie. So let's open this guy up here. How good does that look for a little EDC? And I've got these priced on the site at MSRP, which I'm so excited to distribute the brand. So I've got them literally price matched to the US MSRP. So for I think $400 on these Canadian, you get a full tie milled or a belt finish on these, knife in Magna Cut. You know, very similar to the price point of those Wingman EDCs. Really cool. Also, funny enough, made by Riyadh. Like the simple backspacer, once again, just keeping it simple. But the milling on this is done quite well. I don't see any rough spots. It's all angled nicely. Quite nice. You know, compared to like a sheer gore-off, this is where you'd see like the pivots or the hardware, right, where they would bulge up, right? And it'd be just those extra finishes that you're not getting, but considering the price point, very well done. Very, very well done. I am actually floored. This one particularly. I get vibes from this pattern. Do you guys remember the sheer gore-off bio? Let's see if I have one beside me here. I think I do. There we go. Do you not get vibes of this knife right here? A little different finish level, but just that rolled kind of milling pattern. These are the vibes I get out of it. And this is supposed to be like a spine. Two completely different price points as well. But that's the vibe I get from this one. It just looks so cool. So if it wants to focus ever, there we go. You can hopefully see some more of that. My absolute gem of the line would be this guy. Just because it looks so good. And depending, you know, thumb studs versus the window, totally up to you. I could see going either way and not really being too disappointed. The action on both are phenomenal, as you'd kind of expect. Really cool. Let's keep going down the line. We'll grab the this guy here, which I can never remember. What did I call it earlier? Nebula Fat Carbon. This one really pops nicely as well and gives you the true color on the screen. The color right now seems to be great on this, the lighting conditions, because it looks great. Beautiful black thumb studs instead of the silver, and they are kind of in that kind of volcano pattern where it's rolled up. If it wants to focus, we can kind of see that, but yeah, it's kind of rolled up nicely so you don't get the pinpoint or the pinch spot. And you can kind of see all the layers of that carbon as well, which looks so good. Nice solid tie back spacer on this guy. Tie clip, fingerprints included. The beauty on this one as well is that we get a little window on the back here, and they've kind of inlaid in some of that Nebula fat carbon into the back window. And I don't think they had that on any of the others other than the regular carbon, but the Micarta, there's the Micarta on the back. There's no carbon there, but they do a little bit of a window into the back of the knife, which is cool. On the fancy one, we also have a little window, the little touch points there, but not into the blade, just onto the back of the full dress. Obviously the back of the full tie is just more of that milling pattern, which is sexy as hell. And then the back of the carbon is more carbon. So just a quick discussion on those little two holes there. But the black Micarta, I would say, is the winner in that category because you get a peek through at the blade, which is my preference, always my preference, but it's cool that they're doing that. Kind of rotating that around, looks real good. We get a dark color, which matches the dark thumb studs. I'm kind of wondering, typically, like you would see if they're doing this here and that there, they would usually match the clip, but they didn't do that. Interesting. Or the hardware, which they also didn't do. Not that it matters, just usually the design language is as such that they'll kind of match it all around. Once again, the fat carbon is not milled out, but the tie is, which is what you'd expect. Good feel on this one in hand as well. Just a nice, comfortable knife. And I love the blade. I love that top kind of bevel there, the satin flats that go left to right or horizontally, and then the north-south belt grind. It's just a real nice look to that blade. Good grind. Action between all of them are very, very similar. And I guess let's look down that blade as well. Nice and flat up top. Good jimping. Small jimping, but a big spot of it. On a smaller knife, you're going to want a bit of a window for your thumb to move around. As we go down, it's nice and flat, and then it expands out towards the tip to make some room. Now we do all have a lock bar insert as well on these. Don't know what that steel is, but we do have one, which I'd assume doubles as an over travel stop. Yes, we are correct. Let's grab that full carbon one. Take a look at that. Ooh, full carbon. That looks sexy. Super, super sexy. And once again, we're back away from the thumb studs, back to the thumb hole. I'd be curious to see how usable that is. And like a reverse flick, I'm sure people will do it. I'm not gonna, not even attempt that right now. But that is a good looking knife. Plain tie on the back spacer, full carbon on the show side, no milling on the inside of that carbon, but we have a little window that's filled with some, I'm assuming tie. I don't know how they inlaid that in or what, but that's cool. This one feels the lightest of the group. Good action. Just a nice knife, real nice. Quite comfortable, same blade, MagnaCut. I don't know, I've probably talked about that about 5 times. And then that inlaid carbon fiber into the back of the lock bar side, which just looks nice. It just looks nice. Very nice, comfortable knife. I'm quite surprised. This might make a real nice user. Good carry at $400 for a full tie, and they all vary a little bit by I think $20–30. Micarta versus fat carbon, I think they're a little different than the full ties. My black Micarta might be the least expensive of the entire line by $10 or something. But it's a good looking knife, man. It's real good. I'm quite surprised. Quite surprised. And just looking at the emails here, there's a handful of these that have already been committed, which is hilarious to me that they're just doing well right away. You know, typically when you bring in one of these full dress models of the lineup, like from my experience, you know, people really like, you know, milled tie. They love black micarta, they love fat carbon, but once you double the price or add a 30% increase to a full dress model, you sell less of them, right? And I was surprised this is one of the first to go. And I've got another email asking about it already. Jeez. Maybe I should have brought more of these in. I'm curious what the preference to you guys is in order of, you know, what do you guys like? Do you like the full tie with the dress? Do you like the full tie standard with the milling? Do you like the fat carbon, the black micarta, the carbon? What's the order of which you guys like it? And secondary to that, what's your deployment method? Are you guys a thumb stud or are you the thumb hole? What do you think is the best version? Well, that blade is a hand satin too. I didn't even point that out. That's not a belt grind. Are they all? Belt satin, belt satin, belt satin, belt satin, and this is the only one that's going to be hand satin. Gotcha. Nice little touch on that. That's probably why this one's got the premium price tag. Obviously the components of it are a little nicer, and the fit and the finish and the dress, but yeah, the blade finish is a little bit higher level. Beautifully finished as well. Beautiful centering. Just a nice knife. What's the preference? What do you guys think? Are you on team tie or are you on team fat carbon or micarta? And remember, like I said, there's a different variation of each of these, right? So the deployment method. So you take 5, 6 different knives and you make 2 different versions of it. It turns into a lot of SKUs. So that's why I'm kind of asking what should I keep in the store? Boy, if I could get a hand satin blade on this one, whew, that'd be cool. But expensive. I just love that milling. They're all so different. And even on the pivot hardware, they're all a little bit different, right? They just kind of get a different vibe with that black cover to it, or the black, yeah, I guess the cover, or whatever you call it. It's just a little bit different, and I love how they match the thumb studs. Super cool knife. And just, if anyone's ever had a, just about cut myself there, if anyone's ever had a front flipper or hasn't had a front flipper, definitely give them a shot. Like, there's nothing wrong with front flippers. It's a little bit of a different method to deploy, but you get used to it and you kind of figure it out, and you figure out they tend to have a little bit lighter of a detent on them as well, but these all feel real nice. Real nice. Fit and finish is as expected for something like this price point. Very good, very high. Quite surprised. I'm actually very surprised. In a good way. And fat carbon, let's see if we can get the light bouncing around on these. That's one of the beauties, is when you have the light hitting kind of some of these spots on here, kind of moves around. The knife changes. They're perfectly imperfect. I don't know if it's going to or not this second, but hopefully you can see something like that. Beautiful knife. Oh, I love the layering here too. I don't know about you guys, but I love seeing the layer of this. And as they kind of mill and they bevel the edges of the knife, I love how that kind of just pops out. It's almost like a fingerprint. They're all a little different. So cool. Alright, well, I think I'm going to put these guys back down in some kind of a pattern. And get them all together once again. And hopefully that was a cool video to see a couple different versions of the same knife and see how they all look together as a family. I don't know if there's going to be other variants of them in terms of different colorways, different metals, anything like that, but you know, the Chevron itself seems like a real cool knife, and certainly one that is worthy of any collection. You know, front flipper deployment, amazing. Multiple versions of deployment in that if you want a thumb stud or a window, super cool. If I were to pick one perfect combination of the knife, I would probably go myself, just being me. You know, I like plain Jane tie. I don't know if I can decide between thumb studs and the hole. You know, I just think it looks cooler, I guess, maybe with the hole, but purists are going to want thumb studs. Either way, they're both super cool. But it'd be pretty sick to have basically these two knives combined, I think. Take the hand satin with the window on the milled tie. Maybe charge $100. That'd be kind of cool. But nonetheless, I think it's you can't really lose with any of these configurations at this price point. They're all knocking it out of the park. So pretty cool, man. All right, well, I'll leave you at that, and have yourself a fantastic week. Check out the store. I'm going to try to get this video up as soon as I can, just to kind of coincide with the launch. And hopefully you guys have a great week. Check out the store, obviously, BladeZilla.ca. Follow me on Instagram, BladeZilla, TikTok, etc. Have a chat. Send me an email. More than anything, it's just half of it is talking to you guys and having fun. Talking knives. That's the best part. So, all right. Well, have a fantastic week, guys. Peace.